One of the most enigmatic figures in history that worked to also be one of the most influential was that of the great Serbian inventor Nikola Tesla. Though Tesla would go on to make headlines across many different news outlets for a number of breakthroughs and inventions, there have been a number of rising rumors and secrets in the modern day, gathered from letters he's written to friends and investors that have led to the realization of many hidden things about the inventor never known before. An interesting FBI document has been released that details Nikola Tesla did in fact create a death ray. The article reads as follows. Reference is made to the Bureau letter dated January 21st, 1943, which bore a caption similar to that mentioned above. The reference letter dealt with the death, on January 7th, 1943, of the famous inventor Nikola Tesla, who, as well as being the inventor of alternating current, perfected many electrical devices. He is also credited with having developed the death ray, which would safeguard any country from attack by air. On June 9, 1945, a Ralph Bergstresser of New York City furnished information of a non-specific nature, indicating that it was his belief that persons sympathetic to Russia were making an effort to secure the effects of Nikola Tesla in order to salvage therefrom any models or designs of possible military value. Mr. Bergstresser claimed that he heard that Abraham Spaney, president of the National Latex Corporation of Dover and Delaware, was the motivating influence behind this attempt to obtain Tesla's papers, which are presently held in storage at the Manhattan Storage Warehouse in New York City. Bergstresser promised to return to the New York Field Division shortly after his initial visit and furnish further and more specific information to support his claims. He was not heard from again until September 27, 1945, at which time he furnished the following additional information. He said that a boyhood chum of his from Wichita, Kansas, Blois Fitzgerald, had been Tesla's protege and one of the inventor's few confidants. According to Bergstresser, Fitzgerald, who is now an Army private stationed at Wright Field, Dayton, Ohio, is a brilliant 29-year-old scientist who spent endless hours with Tesla prior to the latter's passing, during which time Tesla explained to him secret experiments. Bergstresser stated that Fitzgerald met Tesla in November 1942, but he has been corresponding with the latter since 1935. According to the informant, Fitzgerald had developed some sort of anti-tank gun, the details of which he presented to Tesla, who made certain corrections in design and specifications to further perfect the weapon. Bergstresser related that sometime in December 1942, when Fitzgerald was attending a meeting of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, he made the acquaintance of Abraham Spanel, who became interested in Fitzgerald's gun. Spanel offered financial aid to Fitzgerald, and the two were in the closest contact with each other for a considerable period of time. Bergstresser said that Fitzgerald had lined up a deal for the purchase of the gun, but for some reason, Spanel blocked this deal by reaching top men in the company. Spanel is then reported as having obtained a job for Fitzgerald with the Higgins Shipbuilding Company in New Orleans, and negotiated a contract with Fitzgerald for the purchase and manufacture of the gun in a manner which would return a percentage of the profits to Spanel. According to Bergstresser, Fitzgerald is presently working on the perfecting of Tesla's death ray, which, in Fitzgerald's opinion, is the only possible defense against offensive use by another nation of the atomic bomb. In this connection, it is noted that the New York Times of September 22, 1940, in an article entitled Science in the News by William Lawrence, science editor, states that Tesla divulged to Lawrence the fact that he had developed a death ray or teleforce, which Tesla claimed would melt airplane motors at a distance of 250 miles, so that an invisible Chinese wall would be built around a country against attack by an enemy air force. This electrical device would operate by the generation of power from a plant, a number of which might be located strategically along our coastlines, and the beam of which would melt any engine within a radius of 250 miles. Bergstresser stated that during Fitzgerald's acquaintance with Spanel, Fitzgerald had told Spanel of his associations with Tesla, and had apparently described to Spanel some of Tesla's most secret work. Bergstresser believes that Spanel, who he claims is definitely pro-Russian in attitude, is now attempting through legal procedure to secure custody of Tesla's effects, which are now held by Tesla's only heirs, one Sava Kosanovic, who is presently in Yugoslavia occupying some governmental post. Nikola Tesla, widely regarded as one of the most brilliant intellects of our time, is now recognized for his groundbreaking contributions. Although his genius was not fully appreciated during his lifetime, the years following his death have brought a newfound respect for his visionary pursuits. Tesla fearlessly delved into the realm of electricity, exploring its potential and pioneering advancements, such as anti-gravity technology and the enigmatic concept of the ether. Similar to many other influential thinkers from the past, Tesla's profound impact on modern-day life often goes unnoticed by contemporary audiences. It is through his extraordinary intellect that the world has witnessed groundbreaking inventions like electricity, radar, microwaves, radio, drones, and countless other remarkable advancements. Undoubtedly, Tesla epitomizes a man whose genius was destined for a different era. Tesla embraced an ancient mystical concept called the ether, which he discussed extensively, and believed he could harness its powers to shape a future filled with extraordinary devices, transforming humanity's capabilities. This led to a well-known quote attributed to Nikola Tesla, wherein he envisioned a world where wireless communication would turn the entire Earth into a vast interconnected network, allowing instantaneous communication and vivid visual and auditory experiences between people no matter the distance. Furthermore, he envisioned handheld devices that could enable these remarkable interactions. The inventor is often associated with a fascinating invention known as his oscillating machine. It has been said that this machine had the capability to create small earthquakes in its surrounding area. Interestingly, it was observed that the machine's power would gradually increase the longer it was left turned on. While some argue that these reports are exaggerated, there is a recorded event from 1912 where a journalist interviewed Tesla, and he provided a detailed description of his initial testing of the machine in practical terms. According to the inventor himself, Tesla had brought a small version of his oscillating device, no larger than an alarm clock, and attached the device to the steel framework of a building still undergoing construction. After adjusting the oscillator, the building began to tremble, and the structure quickly came down, with many believing that an earthquake had just occurred. The police had been called shortly after, as an investigation quickly began, causing Tesla to quickly retrieve his device and leaving shortly after. Although many now believe that the story was made up by Nikola Tesla for nothing more than additional media attention, others disagree given the fact that, theoretically, if an oscillating device could match the resonance frequency of an object, it could begin to cause it to vibrate and tear apart similar to that of a violin shattering a crystal glass. Today, there are no surviving mechanisms of such a device, though researchers are now well aware of a phenomenon known as resonance frequency, in which any element can be broken down when subjected to certain frequencies and vibrations. Anonymous is a loosely associated international network of activists and hackers known for their online operations and digital activism. Since its emergence in the early 2000s, Anonymous has captured the attention of the media and the public, often making headlines with their high-profile cyber attacks and involvement in various social and political causes. Anonymous operates under the philosophy of hacktivism, combining hacking skills with social and political activism. Their actions are often aimed at exposing perceived injustices, promoting freedom of speech, and challenging systems of power. One of their most well-known tactics is distributed denial of service attacks, where they overwhelm a target website's servers with traffic, temporarily rendering it inaccessible. While Anonymous is known for their disruptive activities, they also advocate for online privacy and freedom of expression. They have been involved in campaigns against internet censorship, government surveillance, and corporate greed. In the last few days, hacking groups such as Anonymous Sudan have issued a threat to carry out a potentially devastating attack on the European financial system. Their primary target will be the SWIFT international communications system, and various members have come forward and said that these attacks could have wide-ranging consequences. A video was recently published where the group states that they are retaliating against Europe for its involvement in recent conflicts. According to security experts, although this possibility may seem unlikely, financial institutions should remain vigilant for potential attacks, as some of these groups who are sending these threats have a reputation for launching potent distributed denial of service attacks. Anonymous Sudan a branch of the larger anonymous hacktivist group, issued a video and multiple messages on Telegram, cautioning about an upcoming destructive attack directed towards the European banking system. The post also suggested the possibility of targeting the US Federal Reserve. The person featured in the video adopts the expected anonymous approach, wearing a Guy Fawkes mask and disguising their voice. They suggest that the banking system holds significant influence. The issue with the group is that not everyone has to agree on the motives, as anyone can join Anonymous, and for this reason, in recent years, it has become known for engaging in this kind of political maneuvering, which is consistent with their previous actions of issuing threats to other organizations. The video provides an overview of an upcoming attack, highlighting the knowledge and skills of the group in relation to the European banking system. One of the most notable incidents associated with Anonymous was the Operation Payback campaign in 2010. This campaign targeted organizations that were perceived as threats to internet freedom, such as the Motion Picture Association of America and the Recording Industry Association of America. Through distributed denial of service attacks and other methods, Anonymous disrupted the online presence of these organizations as a form of protest against their perceived infringement on digital rights. Another significant event was the 2011 collaboration between Anonymous and WikiLeaks. Anonymous launched Operation Avenge Assange in response to the arrest of Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks. They targeted various websites, including those of payment service providers and government agencies, in retaliation for their actions against Assange. This collaboration highlighted the power of decentralized activism and the ability of Anonymous to mobilize its global network of supporters. However, the decentralized nature of Anonymous also means that anyone can claim affiliation and carry out actions in the name of the collective. This has led to controversy and internal debates within the group regarding the legitimacy of certain operations. Some argue that it dilutes the group's message and allows for malicious actors to exploit the Anonymous brand for personal gain or nefarious purposes. In recent years, Anonymous has continued to make headlines with their involvement in various causes, such as the global protest movements like Occupy Wall Street. They have also targeted extremist groups, exposing their online activities and identities. Through their actions, Anonymous has demonstrated the potential of online collective action in effecting change and holding powerful entities accountable. As of right now, the group has made themselves a prominent and influential collective of activists and hackers who have made a significant impact on the digital landscape. They have challenged authority, exposed corruption, and promoted online freedom of expression. While their actions have sometimes been controversial and their methods debated, there is no denying the role they have played in shaping online activism and bringing attention to social and political issues. Some members of Anonymous have been critical of current events happening in the world right now, leading to certain accounts being banned. The hacking group Anonymous has been a subject of debate and controversy due to their activities and methods. Whether they are perceived as good or bad largely depends on one's perspective and the specific actions being considered. One of the main arguments in favor of Anonymous is their role as digital activists and whistleblowers. They have been involved in exposing corruption, advocating for online privacy and freedom of expression, and challenging oppressive systems. Their actions have shed light on issues that may have otherwise remained hidden, sparking important conversations and promoting transparency. Anonymous has played a significant role in amplifying the voices of marginalized communities and shedding light on social and political injustices. Moreover, Anonymous has used its skills to target and disrupt organizations and individuals that are perceived as oppressive or engaged in unethical practices. They have targeted entities such as oppressive governments, hate groups, and corporations involved in shady activities. In some cases, they have successfully disrupted the operations of these organizations, forcing them to reconsider their actions. Supporters argue that such interventions serve as a form of direct action against those who abuse their power and harm others. Additionally, Anonymous has been credited with promoting online activism and the idea that anyone can make a difference. By operating in a decentralized manner, they have empowered individuals to stand up against injustice and express dissent. They have inspired others to take action and have raised awareness about the importance of digital rights and freedoms. In this regard, Anonymous is seen as a catalyst for change, sparking conversations and mobilizing people to take a stand. On the other hand, critics argue that Anonymous's actions often involve illegal activities and violate the principles of law and order. Their use of hacking techniques, such as distributed denial of service attacks, can disrupt legitimate services and cause harm to innocent individuals. This raises concerns about the ethics of their methods and the potential collateral damage they may cause. Furthermore, the lack of accountability opens the door for malicious actors to exploit the anonymous brand for personal gain or to pursue their own agendas. Critics argue that this undermines the credibility and legitimacy of the collective, making it difficult to discern between genuine activism and malicious intent. There are also concerns about the potential for indiscriminate targeting and collateral damage. While Anonymous may have noble intentions, their actions can inadvertently harm innocent individuals or organizations that are unrelated to the issues they are addressing. The lack of centralized control and oversight within the group makes it difficult to ensure that their actions are targeted and proportional. As of right now, the assessment of whether Anonymous is good or bad is subjective and depends on one's perspective. Supporters argue that their actions serve as a means to expose corruption, promote transparency, and advocate for online freedom. They view Anonymous as a force for change and as champions of digital activism. Critics, on the other hand, raise concerns about the legality of their actions, potential collateral damage, and the lack of accountability within the group. It is important to critically examine the motivations, methods, and impact of Anonymous to form an informed opinion about their activities and their role in the digital landscape. Cybersecurity and cybercrime have become significant issues in today's digital age, with numerous financial and societal implications. The financial costs associated with cybersecurity measures and the economic impact of cybercrime are substantial. To begin, it is important to understand that the field of cybersecurity encompasses various aspects, including technology, personnel, infrastructure, and policy. Organizations and governments around the world allocate significant resources to protect their digital assets and infrastructure from cyber threats. According to various reports, the global spending on cybersecurity has been steadily increasing in recent years. In 2020, the global expenditure on cybersecurity was estimated to be around $145 billion. This figure includes investments made by both public and private sectors, covering areas such as network security, endpoint protection, data encryption, threat intelligence, and incident response. It is worth noting that this estimate does not capture the full extent of cybersecurity investments, as many organizations also allocate significant internal resources to develop and maintain their cybersecurity capabilities. However, while cybersecurity expenditures are substantial, the costs of cybercrime continue to rise and pose a significant financial burden. Cybercrime involves various illicit activities conducted through digital means, such as hacking, data breaches, identity theft, financial fraud, and ransomware attacks. The financial losses resulting from cybercrime are staggering, impacting both businesses and individuals. Estimating the precise costs of cybercrime is challenging due to underreporting, varying methodologies, and the evolving nature of cyber threats. However, studies and reports provide valuable insights into the magnitude of the problem. According to one estimate, the global cost of cybercrime in 2020 reached $1 trillion. This figure includes direct financial losses, such as stolen funds and monetary damages, as well as indirect costs, such as recovery efforts, reputation damage, and productivity losses. It is important to highlight that the costs associated with cybercrime extend beyond immediate financial losses. Cyber attacks can have long-lasting consequences on businesses and individuals, including legal implications, regulatory penalties, and loss of customer trust. Moreover, cybercrime can disrupt critical infrastructure, impact national security, and undermine economic stability. To counter the growing threat of cybercrime, governments, organizations, and individuals are investing significant resources in cybersecurity measures. The goal is to develop robust defenses, enhance incident response capabilities, and promote cybersecurity awareness and education. Governments around the world are allocating budgets to strengthen their cybersecurity infrastructure and establish frameworks and regulations to combat cyber threats. In addition to government investments, organizations are dedicating substantial resources to safeguard their systems and protect sensitive data. This includes investments in advanced security technologies, employee training programs, security audits, and collaborations with cybersecurity firms. The private sector, including industries such as finance, healthcare, and technology, plays a crucial role in driving cybersecurity innovation and best practices. While the billions of dollars spent on cybersecurity demonstrate the commitment to protect digital assets, it is essential to recognize that cybersecurity is an ongoing battle. Cyber threats continue to evolve and become more sophisticated, necessitating continual investments and advancements in cybersecurity measures. Moreover, the costs of cybercrime are expected to rise as criminals adapt to new technologies and exploit vulnerabilities.
Drone finds 1,000-year-old village. We are continuously finding innovative ways to explore new places and terrain. One of the more modern developments in archaeological research is being able to use drones to capture images and share the view of places we have not been able to reach before. Back in 2013, a team of archaeologists managed to use a drone to reveal a village that has been estimated to be about 1,000 years old. The team sent a small drone to Blue Jay, a village that archaeologists first revealed in the 1970s. The village lies 43 miles south from Chaco Canyon in the northwest of New Mexico. This village is home to nearly 60 ancestral Puebloan houses that surround an area that was once a spring. Today, Blue Jay is somewhat in ruins. It is hidden behind various plants and parts are buried in sandstone blown down by cliffs. We have been able to find out a little about the ancient structures of this site through some excavations, though this drone mission revealed an awful lot more. Blue Jay received a visit from a small drone able to capture thermal, infrared images. This let the team, quite literally, see what was hiding beneath the surface. The team revealed structures we have never seen before in a Native American settlement. Needless to say, this was a momentous discovery. Jesse Casana, an archaeologist from the University of Arkansas, said, "I was really pleased with the results." He then went on to explain that studies like this can show just how incredible drones, or UAVs, are in various fields of scientific research. This was not the first investigation of the site, with some excavations having taken place prior. However, the drone images both confirmed the presence of stone compounds we had identified and were already aware of, as well as showing us this new information. Once again, this is great news. The methods we have been using so far are seemingly reliable, and we now have new additional ways to confirm these stone structures without contradicting what we know so far. As with a great number of archaeological discoveries, the thermal images uncovered a lot more than the physical structures. We were also given a window into further cultural understanding. For a while now, Blue Jay has been considered somewhat unusual, a bit of an outlier compared to the surrounding villages. Typically, we expect to see some great houses or kivas, areas of public gatherings or ceremonies, though none of these trademark features of Chaco-era Pueblo sites were seen in Blue Jay. The thermal images show a dark circle in the wall of the plaza area. This means we can expect a wetter, colder soil here, which may be filling in spaces where the ceremonies, gatherings, and alike events took place. We know there is an underground circular structure of some sort that had been missed when studying before. Not only can these thermal images show us areas of interest, but it also gives us a clear idea of where we can begin looking and prepare and plan a course of digging with direction in mind before any soil has even been taken up. Kasana said, "Now that we know what household compounds look like in thermal imaging, we could use it to prospect for structures at other sites. This research method is not limited to this one area. The use of drones, thermal and infrared imaging are all invaluable to so many archaeological sites. The technology works because features like bricks or stone walls keep and release warmth in a different way that the soil that surrounds those features does. This means that even when structures are entirely buried, we can oftentimes view an outline of the structure using heat maps. Of course, the equipment is rather expensive and high-quality imaging devices are key. It's not a new idea to use thermal imaging. It is just simply an expensive and difficult process to initiate. What is even more complex is considering the expenses against the likelihood of crashing the drones. Kasana described it as not a question of if you'll crash it, but of when and how badly. There are issues such as hardware coming loose or software glitching, all of which can cause devastating losses to the equipment. Another hurdle to this research technique is the legality. The Federal Aviation Administration has to implement a series of rules and regulations dictating what is and is not allowed when flying these sorts of drones. There are issues of safety and the law, but hopefully it will be resolved to enough of a compromise that this revolutionary scientific method can still be used and bring all sorts of new discoveries. Earth's crust is dripping like honey into its interior. A mysterious happening is occurring underneath the mountainous range of the Andes. Our Earth's very crust appears to be melting and dripping deeper into the ground. Scientists discovered proof that our planet's crust has been flowing away into the Andes and has been seemingly devoured by the Earth's mantle. In a quest to confirm their data, researchers conducted a sandbox experiment comparing it with the real-life findings. The results confirm that several hundred miles of the Andes have dripped into the mantle. As it turns out, this is not anything new and has occurred worldwide for millennia. Scientists call it lithospheric dripping. The reason it's so profound as a discovery is because we did not know about it before. According to a researcher from the University of Toronto, Julia Anderson, we have confirmed that a deformation on the surface of an area of the Andes Mountains has a large portion of the lithosphere. The Earth's crust and upper mantle below avalanched away. Anderson compared it to dripping like cold syrup or honey deeper into the planetary interior, claiming this is a result of high density. Anderson believes that this lithospheric dripping is responsible for the shifting surface of the Andes. When it comes to geology, there is the upper mantle, the crust, the lithosphere, and the lower mantle. The upper mantle is formed of solid rock plates. The lower mantle is where the tectonic plates reside, which are moved by currents of magma. They can create oceans or cause earthquakes. Scientists have been studying the lower mantle and how tectonic plates work for a long time, but are still discovering brand new things in their research. The process of lithospheric dripping goes like this. Two tectonic plates crash together, creating heat. This immense heat and pressure cause them to thicken and drip down deeper into the Earth's mantle, like a sluggish drop of honey oozing from its pot. As this occurs, the weight affects the upper crust and tugs it down, thus forming a temporary basin in the land until the pressure becomes too much and the crust jumps skyward, like a spring, forming mountains. This is how researchers believe the Andes were made. There is evidence in the central Andean plateau to suggest the mountains sprung unexpectedly instead of being formed over time via the process of subduction, another way mountains are formed, which takes far longer over the course of decades, if not centuries. It is thought some of the Andes were formed via subduction, but fragments of it appear to have only sprung up in our current geological period of the Cenozoic. That is to say, they formed within the past 66 million years. Scientists hope to utilize sandbox modeling in the future to test their theories, but are convinced that lithospheric dripping must be a commonplace occurrence for the Andes area. Alongside digital recreations, researchers used a plexiglass tank with a stimulated area of the mantle and crust with the use of silicon polymer to experiment. Anderson recalls, "It was like creating and destroying tectonic mountain belts in a sandbox, floating on a simulated pool of magma, all under incredibly precise sub-millimeter measured conditions." Furthermore, Anderson explained, the dripping occurs over hours, so you wouldn't see much happening from 1 minute to the next, but if you checked every few hours, you would clearly see the change. It just requires patience. Their sandbox experimentation proved that the Andes was created by lithospheric dripping, and that it is perfectly normal to witness it happening now, since the area is susceptible to it. Decoding whale language. According to an international team of scientists that has started a 5-year journey, whales use a pattern of clicking noises referred to as codas to communicate back and forth. Like humans, different tribes have their own special dialects. Scientist Shane Gero is working to understand the whale group in Dominica. Gero studied 2 whales having an active conversation back in 2008. They used their coda for 40 minutes, communicating and swimming alongside each other. He had followed the specific mammals in the Caribbean for 3 years. Gero would record their communication but had not heard a conversation live before. He was entranced. What if scientists had the ability to unlock the meaning of these clicks? They could reveal a shocking understanding of our natural world. For 13 years following, he continued to record more than 1,000 audio tracks of codas and clicks. With the tracks, Gero annotated other specific notes, such as which whales clicked at which time, their behavior during, and who or what was in their surroundings. With whales, the big question is whether any of this stuff is even present. Jacob Andreas, a natural language processing expert at MIT and member of Project SETI, tells National Geographic, "Are there minimal units inside this communication system that behave like language, and are there rules for putting them together?" Other scientists say observing their behavior to give the findings context should go along with the millions of coders needed for computers to recognize their speech patterns. For example, hunting or mating clicks may have a specific clicking pattern or tone. It's the cocktail party problem, David Gruber, a professor at the City University of New York, tells National Geographic. Scatter a few microphones around a party and they'll pick up snatches of conversation. But watch people, tracking who touches someone's arm, who scans the room for better company, and the whole scene starts to make more sense. To understand the specifics of whale communication, Project SETI will utilize specific audio and video equipment. Some of the tools, including high-resolution hydrophones that record 24/7, reaching thousands of feet under the surface, cameras that scientists will latch to whales using suction cups. These cameras can withstand pressure at extreme depths. Lastly, drones designed to move in water similarly to a fish so they can record without disturbance. Once scientists begin their recordings, they will count on advances in AI to gather and conclude the data, identifying key patterns and elements of the whale's language. After these elements are complete, then comes the exciting part, attempting to communicate back with the whales. The posse plans to test its conclusions by broadcasting the vocalizations to the whales and monitoring the results. Their goal is to get the whales to respond back. The question comes up, what are you going to say to them? That kind of misses the point, Gero says. It assumes they have a language to talk about us and boats, or the weather, or whatever we might want to ask them about. The primary goal is simply to understand. It's not about us talking to them. This is about listening to the whales in their own setting, on their own terms. It's the idea that we want to know what they're saying, that we care. All 3 of these mysterious underwater discoveries have one thing in common. Maintaining their habitats is what will keep the research developed. With climate change on the rise, each of these fascinating findings are at risk. But what do you make of these recent discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.